Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have 12 o'clock on the dot. Welcome, everybody in Zoominar land. You are going to see me look back and forth here because I want to make these as interactive as humanly possible. We're not all together, but we want to make it feel that way. And quite frankly, I like to use Zoom because Zoom allows us to participate with each other better than any other format that I've seen. So if you are going to do webinars for your people or something, I would suggest you take a real strong look at using Zoom. Okay, the reason being is you want people to participate. So first and foremost, you can open your mic. So if you want to open your mic and say something, that is fine at any time. I am not a believer in waiting to the end to ask for questions or anything like this, because if it's on your mind right now, we want to deal with it. So you can keep your mic closed and open it whenever you're ready. Okay, we also have another way to participate, and I'm just going to shoot a little message out here. And since it is now good afternoon, there we go. You can chat me up at any time. Some of you are more comfortable doing that. We welcome that too. All right. And good afternoon back to you, Joe. See how this works? Joe's got it. We are on a roll. Fantastic. And that's why you're going to see me keep coming back and forth here. I will read in the chat as we get to what we're going to. All right. Got another hello out here. Wonderful. One last, Kathy's giving me hello. Okay. We got a bunch of old pros here. I just love it. Oh, let me just also mention, yes, this is being recorded. It'll be posted to the website. And I was just so thrilled. We had over 2,000 people sign up. Now we've got a little over 100 today. But I will tell you, the vast majority of people go back and watch the recordings. And I will tell you, I love that. I think that's fantastic. These are all free. And I will tell you, the mission in my life for the rest of my career, and I think I can keep doing this for, I'm 60. I'm very proud of that for anybody out there who is, you know, not over the hill, but you can see the top of it. If I stay in good shape, I can probably keep getting this message out there for another 10 or 15 years until I probably have to replace my teeth or something like that. Okay. Oh, Arizona. Thank you, Rosemary. Absolutely. Wonderful to hear from you out there. Okay. You can also vote if you bring up the participants menu. Let's do a vote right now, just so everybody can get your emojis all warmed up and everything good like that. Okay. How many people in your workplaces have some intolerant people working right now, which means they would bully somebody if they were Satanist, if they were gay, if they were Muslim, if they were Democrat, if they were Republican? So give me a thumbs. Oh, look at this. Okay, I just love it. I got one red X. That is fantastic. That means you've been working at it. Got lots of hands, getting lots of thumbs up, getting lots of green checks. There you go. I love this. Suvan gives me an upside down smiley emoji. So, okay, well, let's get off to the races here. We are going to look at a few recap things. And with the way this session came up, I did a session on tolerance and acceptance earlier this year, but I was fortunate enough to get to do a session with the Ohio Diversity Council. It was my first session with them, and just absolutely wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful folks to deal with. I don't have enough good things to say about working with those folks. Okay. Now, we got into a fantastic discussion about tolerance and diversity and things like this, but we ran out of time. And you could talk about this all day. So I sent you all reminders that I have the video posted online. So if you've got a chance to watch that, that's great. But we'll also do some recapping here. Now, let me also explain the total lack of tolerance in the world today. Let me ask you, chat me up or open your mic. Do people ask before they form an opinion these days, or do they just rush to judgment and put a label on you? They rush to judgment. Thank you, Becky. Rush to judgment. Senta. Hey, Senta. Lori, good to see you. Robert, they judge. Absolutely. Label it and hold judgment. Oh, absolutely. I'm just looking at this high-speed train that rushes to judgment. Oh, that is worth a quote right there. That's fantastic. Welcome to my world. How many people look forward? They fall over themselves rushing. Oh, thank you, Rosemary. Brenda, rush to judgment. Absolutely. Label and post. It is overwhelming. Now, let's do a vote here. How many people that you get up every day, and largely from diversity people, from people that are quote, quote, experts in this field? I get emails and messages as to how horribly, horribly offensive my book title is, and they will never read it. Oh, I love this, Scott. Absolutely. Judge despite all contrary evidence. Oh, yes, that's my favorite saying right there. The facts only get in the way of a good opinion, don't they? Okay, welcome to my world. It took me 11 years to write this book, and I really, really researched it. It's got over 320 citations for 240 pages of narration. That's a lot of citations. And I will tell you, I don't think anybody should ever be discriminated against. Anybody. We are all human. I thought that was a good message. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. So I originally called the book Tolerance and Diversity for White Guys and Other Human Beings. My smart aleck sense of humor. You can see the sarcasm coming through, I hope. It was actually a Rorschach. Tells me how people think. Okay. I thought people would say, I wonder what that is. Because you want a catchy title, don't you? You want something catchy, like white fragility. Well, I can tell you right now, I think that's a little edgy that you're white fragility. Okay. Hypersensitivity. Okay. Well, you clearly haven't met many folks from Japan, China, right? So people are people are people. Okay. It is absolutely amazing. I am tired of getting attacked. So yes, I am going to cave to cancel culture. The new title of the book, just so people don't hate me quite so much and might possibly read it. If you haven't read this book yet, don't miss it. Great book. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you so much. Some white folks are hypersensitive to being called white. Joe, absolutely. I hired a publicist, and Joe, let's look at Joe's comment here. Oh my gosh, how come you have to have something just for white guys? How come they're worse than everybody else? That's not what it meant. Well, how come that you have a special program so I get hit from the right, punch from the right? And the comments were, well, how come you have to have something for white people? Don't you think white people are the same as everybody else? Yes, I do. Then I would get punched from the left. These are largely the diversity people. How come you want a program especially for white people? They're the problem. That's not what it means. Did everybody miss the other human beings part? Okay, so to hopefully stem the tide here, because it doesn't do me any good. I think we've got a wonderful subject here. I think we got a wonderful way to look at it that is very, very different than what you get from any place else. We're changing the title. Yes, we're changing the title. I got the new proofs in. The new title is Living the 5 Skills of Tolerance, a user's manual for today's world. Okay, so those of you who already have the original book, you have a collector's edition because we ain't making any more. We're not going to make any more, all right, because this is the new title. Nothing else has changed. And so if you have gone out to give a review of the book, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are still to do that, if you could please wait until we post the new version out there. Oh, and Jill has a collector's edition. Absolutely. So I think after I die, that'll be worth a lot of money. But we're not going to rush things here. Okay, so if you go to my website, you want to see the old videos, all free. And let me tell you right now, if you know anybody who might want to sit in on our videos, send them the invitation. Send them the invitation. You hit that icon right there, which we will be updating this week. Those are all the Lunch and Learn videos. Okay. And if they want to sign up for these free lunch and learns, please let them know. Go to my website and sign up. Everybody is welcome. And I have had all kinds of different folks on here. That's what we're shooting for. Now, let me just do a recap here real quick for those of you who are not part of our discussions before. Everything I ever talk about, is it safe? Is it safe? Are we making it safe for your fingers and toes? Are we making it safe from COVID? But more than that, are we making it safe for you to be different? Now, think right there, folks, my friends. Is it okay to be different? Let me ask you right now. Give me a yes or a no, or chat me up, or open your mic, whatever you prefer. Is it safe to be different in today's world? Is it safe? Will someone get? Oh,
not always.
Who is that?
Paula, not always.
Paula, tell me what you're thinking, Paula.
It just depends if it's safe or not, because people have different biases. So it might be safe to be different with somebody and not somebody else.
Yeah, if you look at the chat, Paula, we're getting lots of agreement. Not for the most part. It depends. I agree with Kathy. It depends on who you're with. Let me ask you, folks, let me ask you a serious question. Is it safe to be autistic? Is that safe? Neil's telling me not in many situations. You have to know your surroundings. Is it safe to be walking down the street in New York City and be Asian? See, we sort of pick our prejudice, don't we? Hey, Paula, shoot me an email, scott@scottwarwick.com. You can always see my little logo in the bottom there. I'm going to send you a free collector's book. How'd that be? Shoot me your mailing address.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, and keep it, because if I start to feel sick, it's going to be worth a lot of money. Okay. Now, is it safe to disagree with somebody? Freeze right there, folks. Is it safe to have your opinion on wearing masks? Is that safe? And let's picture you on an airplane. I'm getting all these no's. Look at the chat. Don't you love this? No, not on Facebook. No, not on Facebook. That's where we're going. And I will tell you, this is not a new program. Jessica's telling me no. Robert's telling me nope. Nothing's safe anymore. You're right, Rita. Okay, I thought everyone is human. We should all be treated with respect, and nobody should be discriminated against. Gets me threats. No, it is safe to have an opinion on vaccinations. And I will tell you, trust will change with every time you speak. We are talking about the number one most important topic in your culture. And I'll tell you, I cannot sit and coach somebody without sitting down and saying, are you making it more or less safe for that other person? Social media, from Neil's telling us, really hypes things up. Yes, it is. As long as your opinion agrees with other people. Thank you, Scott. We are very tolerant of people who agree with us. Now, let's look at emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence is where we find tolerance. And I'll tell you, see how first base is loaded there? I am really into visuals here. And oh, Pat's telling us, I guess safe needs more definition. Getting spanked on Facebook may be unpleasant, but it's not unsafe. Well, yeah. Are you being bullied? Is someone bullying you? And we're going to look at how you make it safe. Great point there, Pat. That is so good. Can you control your emotions and ego? If you can't, that's intolerant. These are the same terms, folks. These are the same terms. You show me an emotional child, I will show you someone who is intolerant. I will show you somebody who is a bully. Am I going to punish you because you disagree? Now, this is where we get a little off track, I think. We seem to think diversity is something for only minorities. No. Okay. Anybody that I've ever met at one time in their life, they have been bullied. That's what we humans do to each other. Everyone, this is from David, everyone has blinders on. No one wants to take the time to remove them and see the other side for fear of the unknown. David, right on the nail right there. Ergo, the change in the name in the book. Okay, you're right. But think about this. Diversity is anything that makes you different. If you believe in wearing masks, doesn't that make you different? If you don't believe in masks, well, that's different from somebody. The problem is today, we attack each other. Let me tell you right now, I got to get over this hump before I die. I want to get as many people on board. Diversity is not just about race and religion. Because when you define it so narrowly, why do other people care? If we were all the same, we'd be boring. Thank you, Scott. And I can tell you, we're going to conflict today. I love it. I love it. I might not agree with you, but I will tell you, I take this right to heart. I will defend to the death your right to say it. Absolutely. You have diversity whether you want it or not. Democrats, Republicans, vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, abortion, pro-life, whatever. Tolerance. Now here, let's define our terms. And here's where we get hung up. I agree. What happened to agree to disagree? Thanks, Gene. Gone. We need to respect each other's right to have an opinion. Thank you, Brenda. You see why conflict resolution starts with emotional intelligence and why tolerance? And I'll tell you, we think, oh, tolerance, blah, blah, blah. This is something for minorities. No, this is for the Democrats and Republicans. I'll tell you right now, I would go to Washington right now and do a free session for these children that are running our government. Wah, wah, wah. Grow up. Grow up. Okay. Now, you got to define every term. Right? And I've said this 100 times. If I give you the term pound, well, that could mean, what could a pound be? You tell me. I just use the word pound. What does it mean? Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. Thanks, Mickey. That is good. I hear it's great. Pat, it could be money. Gene, it's a measurement of currency. It's a measurement. Okay, it could be weight, couldn't it? It could be where you put dogs. It's a pound of flesh. Yeah, it's a hashtag, 16 ounces. We all have our own definitions. Okay, what you do to somebody else. Thanks, Scott. That is what Lucy Van Pelt does to Charlie Brown. And yes, Lucy Van Pelt has a last name. Okay, now try it on for size. I am not going to tolerate other people. In your organizations, oh yeah, pound, it's a key on a phone. Thank you, Stacy. What is tolerance? Now think about this, how low this standard is. I'm not going to persecute you because you're different. That's it. I'm not going to pick on you because you're Black. I'm not going to pick on you because you are disabled. I'm not going to pick on you because you're Democrat. I'm not going to pick on you because you voted for Donald Trump and hang a 2024 Trump sign out in front of your house. And I'm not going to attack you because you are a big Joe Bidenite. Don't you have a right to believe what you want to believe? That's right, as long as it agrees with me. You see our self-centered, emotionally childish attitude coming out these days? Now, right here, we're talking about this today because I get attacked on this on a daily basis. Usually when I do the SHRM conferences, okay, which I have not gone back in years because I don't necessarily want to listen to 2 days of white bashing, okay? Because I think we all need to improve. Now, let me tell you, I love this that comes in with the law side and the HR side. Okay. Oh, Scott, but people who are passive aggressive attack you from behind. Thank you, Scott. Give me the attackers any day. The people who tell you what's wrong. At least they tell you. Yeah, we'll do that one first part of the year, Scott. We'll do attackers and retreaters because they are just horrible. Okay. And I'll tell you, the world is cursed with the passive aggressives because they don't necessarily tell you anything. Okay. Now think about this. Last year, 2020. Okay. Yeah, I love this. Giving us a consensus here. We got 3 conservatives, 3 liberals, and 3 consensus seekers. Yes, that is true. Okay. Last year, the United States Supreme Court told us tolerance is the law when we got protected class status for sexual orientation and gender identity. So I'll tell you, when the United States Supreme Court says it's the law of the land to be tolerant, and what's that mean? You do not have to be accepting. Now try that on there. That should ruffle some feathers. You do not have to be accepting. You have to be tolerant. You do not have to change your beliefs, but you will change your behavior. And in 2016, which is still news to a lot of people, the EEOC came out with its new guidelines for harassment training. Tolerance has to be part of your harassment training. The EEOC is saying you cannot pick on people because they're different. You do not tell people what to believe. You don't tell people what to believe. I'm not going to tell you have to be accepting of a Satanist or whatever. I'm going to tell you how to behave. That's the distinction. Let me give you a real life example, and then we will get into our discussion here. In the book, I talk about these 5 or 6 Muslim men, and the company went through tolerance, diversity training, and everybody had to sign a piece of paper that said that they have to be accepting of everybody's differences. Well, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? You have to be accepting of homosexuals and transgenders, or, Jews, or, white people, black people. It sounds good. These guys said, no, we can't sign that paper. And the idea was you had to sign this paper that you understand you're going to be accepting of other people or you're fired. And they wouldn't sign it. So I get a call. Now let's go back to Pat's excellent statement before. I sit back in my chair to talk to these guys. Let me ask you, do these 5 guys have a right to their opinion that they are not going to be accepting of homosexuals? And that was their point. They are not going to be accepting of homosexuals. Do they have a right to that belief? Jessica, yes, of course. This is still America. I don't know for how much longer. They do, yes, from everybody. So I sit back, use your EPR skills. I sit back, I listen. I say, okay, tell me what's going on. That's it. No judgment. Just sit back. Tell me what's happening. They then explain to me, well, our religion says that homosexuality is a mortal sin. There's no leeway. There's nothing that gives us any room here. If we say we are accepting of homosexuals, then we are going to go to hell. If we sign that piece of paper, we are all going to go to hell. So, everybody understand that? Now, I got to parrot it back to make sure that they understand, or that I've got it. And that's respect, isn't it? I'm listening. And empathic listening is, I'm a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant straight male. At the time was about 50 years old, couple kids, Christian, Do I have a different way of seeing the world than these guys? Well, they weren't born here in the United States. They're immigrants, and they are Muslim. So yes, of course we have a different way of looking at the world. So I parrot it back and I say, okay, let me make sure I got this. You're telling me that you are Muslim, and if you sign this piece of paper, you're going to burn in hell because homosexuality is a mortal sin and you'll burn in hell. Do I understand? Now, if they say no, they got to tell me again. But they say, yeah, you got it. Okay, the R, if I disagree with somebody, I always pat them on the head. I always thank them for disagreeing. I validate their opinion. I see where you're coming from. I understand. But here, I don't have to give them a reward because I change my mind. I tell them, I agree with you. I agree with you. No employer has a right to tell you what to believe. We tell you how to behave on and off the job. And they said, I said, well, would you sign a piece of paper that said that you are not going to persecute someone because they're different, that you will be tolerant of them? And they said, oh, yeah. Oh, we'll sign that in a minute. Okay. We just don't want to go to hell. I mean, that's a heck of a choice, isn't it? Get fired to violate your beliefs or go to hell. And I hear hell is bad. Right? Okay. Now, also, does anybody here see the clear legal issue going on here? I just love this. You go to so many diversity conferences and they teach you what to do that's illegal. I am telling these guys what they have to believe in violation of their religion. They could sue me. And today, they'd probably be recording these conversations. Okay, they signed it and it was just fine. They're not going to pick on them. And actually, they said, oh, yeah, a lot of these guys here that are gay, we really like them. It's too bad they're going to, go to hell. And I agreed with them. I said, well, yeah, that's going to be rough. Okay, everybody with me? I'll tell you, if I order these guys to be accepting of homosexuals, will I get their cooperation or will they rebel? What do you think? Anybody with an idea out there? You order somebody to do so, they will rebel. Rita, Philip, oh, Neil, absolutely. And I want you to think about this photo right here. That is like the old bozo punching bag. Okay. If I hit bozo in the nose, what's he going to do? What's going to happen when you punch that punching bag? Will he stay down? He will bounce right back, Holly. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, he'll hit you back. You'll come. Okay, so I've had it. So I hit him harder. You'll fall over and come back and hit you. Thank you. Absolutely. He'll hit back. They will rebel and then sue you for violating their religious beliefs, and you will lose. Thank you, Scott. Absolutely. You hit it on the head. When I say I am tired of going to diversity programs where they teach you how to get sued, this is one of them. Okay. I call this boomerang bigotry. If I am angry with someone who's Jewish and I throw my boomerang of bigotry at them, that boomerang is going to come right back at me or someone who looks like me, right? It's called competitive victimization. And let me tell you right now, if the world is not safe for everyone, it won't be safe for anyone. Okay, now, what I just described is very, very, very different than what you are taught and what you're told. So let's open this up for discussion here. What do you think? Should we be requiring our folks to be accepting? Or what is the big barrier to teaching tolerance? Ideas. This is where the discussion part comes in, because, hey, we got 125 people here today. I love it. Got a lot of folks. You have to live with this every day, don't you? Tolerance, yes. Acceptance, no. Okay, Gene, thank you. Let me ask a question then. If you put out there that you are going to be a tolerant organization, Jennifer's agreeing, are you going to get pushback? Oh, Neil, tolerance can lead to more acceptance. Pushback when you mandate. Thank you, Bob. Tolerance mean you have to be open to other ideas. I agree. I don't think everyone understands the difference between tolerance and diversity. Thank you. Usually, Tom, when we judge others, we are judging ourselves. Yeah, you see the world through your eyes, don't you? Everything's
Hey, Scott.
Yes, please.
So I just wonder if we should change the narrative from tolerance to inquisitive.
Okay, tell me, what you thinking?
So tolerance to me sounds very rigid and kind of formal. Whereas if we change the narrative to inquisitive, then folks are still learning about the differences.
Yeah.
And it's not that forced implementation that if I am not tolerant, something bad happens. I think the inquisitiveness kind of goes hand in hand with the tolerance, kind of teaching them to learn about those differences, which will lead to acceptance.
I think that's a valid point. And your concern, and please jump in here, folks. Your concern is that tolerance, it's not the definition, it's the connotation.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And I don't disagree. And I just don't want, and I can tell you right now, I have had to settle these cases. And I can tell you, when you go to these diversity conferences, and I've never, ever been, just kind of tell you, and please, Stacy, push back on me here. I've gone to about 30 different diversity conferences all over this country, whether I was speaking at them or whether I was just attending. And I mean, chapters here in Ohio that are organizations that are having these things. I have never been to an organization that was teaching diversity that didn't use the word acceptance. What do you think? Is that a problem?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Stacy, you're giving us a good, Stacy, I love what you're saying. I've got no heartburn with that at all. Okay, we got some comments here that Joe's comment, everybody loves it, that you're hitting the nail on the head. You know, Stacy, I love this because if you define inquisitive, now think about that. When you launch this, can't you use the word inquisitive and get people to buy into that if you define it the way you really want it defined?
Yes, I think you can.
Yeah.
It's going to take some work, but yeah, I absolutely think you can.
Yeah. Now think what oh, and by the way, Stacy, shoot me your hard copy mailing address. I'm going to shoot a book in the mail to you, a collector's edition. How's that?
Collector's item.
Yeah. Yeah. And, oh, of course, I'm assuming that's good news. I'm assuming that's what people want. Okay. You can always regift it at Christmas, I guess. But you know, do you think about this? If it is safe, I mean, that's still where you're going, isn't it, Stacy? You can create a safe environment where it's okay to disagree, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that's what we need to get back to, because I think we've gotten just too far to one side where there's too much hate, and you don't want to disagree with anybody because you don't know what ramifications that's going to cause, or at the end of the day, where their mental health level is, and it could, I mean, result in something horrible.
You know, are you afraid to actually go back to the office and have conflict these days? And, you know, Stacy or anybody else, Stacy, are you? I mean, does that concern you?
No, I haven't been concerned. We have everyone back in the office.
Okay.
What concerns me is we are a Head Start program, and we are facing a vaccine mandate. I don't know what will come of that.
Yeah.
All vaccine related items aside, I disagree with the mandate, because I think, going back to that hate issue, I think it's just going to further segregate people and cause more hate.
Right, right. And in the chat here, Neil has given us another word, belonging. I like that. Bob is telling us you can't hate people when you have a chance to see the humanity in them. Yeah, Holly's saying it is concerning everyone's behavior so quickly. Mickey's telling us it seems that people really do not care about anyone but themselves. Yes, absolutely. Taking the time to be curious about others takes time and vulnerability. You know, you're hitting it on the head. And Stacy, I love where you're going. I love the word belonging. Stacy, what do you think about that? If your corporate came down, or if your president came down and said, I want to create a belonging environment. And that does, who has relatives? Let's take a vote here. Who has relatives out there that you hate? Just give me, I mean, you're, maybe hate's a strong word, but you really don't want to see them. Okay, with the holidays coming up here. Oh, I'm getting some good emojis here. Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Oh yeah, I've got them in my immediate family. Oh my gosh, yes. I got Trumpsters and Bidenites. Okay, I have a relative that went all the way to Washington just to get her picture taken with Kamala Harris, turned around and came home. Okay, more power to you. You can choose your friends, but not your relatives. Yeah, well, you can choose not to see your relatives, I guess. I don't hate them, but I dislike them. Yeah, that's probably my hyperbole coming out there. You're right. But, you know, think about belonging. Belonging. Can't I create a belonging environment? And that's okay.
Okay. Marcy didn't finish her payroll. We don't even know if she worked all day yesterday.
Is that Paula? Hello.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Paula. Hi. It's okay. Oh, okay. All right. You see, all I care about is that we are creating an environment that's safe. And I'll know, see if I can get this up here so you can, it takes effort to tolerate and or accept differences. A lot of people want to take the path least resistance, not listening to others because it's easier. Absolutely. We see everything through our own eyes. Now, let me see if I can get this up here so you can see it. Can you see my button? Is it safe? Okay, I just ordered 5,000 more of these. Okay, I just went through the first 5,000. I'm going, that's how this program, I like it so much, because all roads for all 5 skills lead to, is it safe? So let's look at what we've talked about so far. Can't you create a safe environment by having inquisitive people? Which I like that term. Okay. Or a sense of belonging. You can belong and you disagree with me on wearing a mask. I get it. I hate wearing my masks, but I'm kind of addicted to breathing air too. And I'm not going to yell at somebody for wearing a mask, and I'm not going to yell at somebody for not wearing a mask. I can take care of myself and I will wear a mask, and I'm not going to get thrown off an airplane. And I've actually got some flights coming up here pretty soon. I'll tell you, do I have to agree? Do I have to accept your beliefs when it comes to vaccinations? Do I have to agree with you? No, yeah. Aren't these simple questions? Okay. And I'll tell you, Stacy, you gave me such a great comment there at Head Start. Oh yeah. I don't think there's a community action center in Ohio that I haven't talked to. And I will tell you, you're right, Stacy, if this goes into effect, which right now, and understand, let me just kind of hit this too. The Biden administration's rule on this is not finalized yet. And actually, I've got some of you on here today. Man, you folks, your antennas are up. You are ready to go, wanting to know what they have to do. Well, we're going to talk about this in Legal Update in December, because right now you don't have to do anything. And it really does bother me that a lot of the chapters around the country and a lot of associations are holding sessions on learning about this. Don't do it yet. You've got better things to do. You've got better things to do. Why? Because it's not final yet. There's not even a timeline set. But I will tell you, there will be something coming. And when it comes, we will keep our cool, emotional intelligence, and we will deal with it. And I will tell you, Stacy and all you other folks out there, in some way, you could very likely fall under this, and we'll deal with it. Staffing at hospitals and nursing homes will be even worse if the mandate goes through, because people will quit or be fired. You're right, Scott. And I will tell you, I am not so sure of the science that I am going to attack somebody because they disagree. We shouldn't attack people anyway. Again, think about this. I am going to persecute you. I am not going to give you a sense of belonging because you disagree with me on masks. Now, just the attitude right now, just the belief. You have a right to believe this. Now, does an employer have a right? Oh, I've got a great comment here. Who's giving me the comment? Most medical staff have already quit. Whoa. Who's giving me the comment here? This is fantastic. Viola. Okay, so your employees, Viola, you've had people quit? Beth Graff's heard that. Yeah. That could be coming. But I'll tell you, but everyone should be made to feel safe at work. This is a tough issue. Absolutely. Okay, so Janice is telling me not at your hospital. Okay, now let's draw this distinction here. You can believe what you want to believe. And I am agreeing with everything you're saying about, Viola's watching the news and she's seeing this. And that is true. But, I respect their opinions. An employer has to control your behavior. Now, let's draw the fine line distinction here. Let's take a good example, okay? In Northwest Ohio, which is a very interesting, Ohio, you just got to understand, Ohio is an interesting state. We were part of the Underground Railroad, going way back. Actually, my church downtown is a social justice church. I live this stuff, okay? Equality for everybody, civil rights for everybody, absolutely everybody. And it was a stop on the Underground Railroad on the way into Canada up here in Columbus, Ohio. Okay. Now, very much into these types of things. Okay. Now think about this. Okay. A lot of the churches around town thought that my church was a black church. for years. Why? Because they were helping slaves. So, okay, do you get labeled? It's not a black church, a lot of white folks there. Okay, believe me, if you had a black household and everything back in the 1850s or 40s, you're going to be looking at that place as a safe house. Okay, it gives some comments here. We have to agree to disagree, and no one seems to be able to do this. Drives me insane. Thank you. Holly's telling us, agreed, Tom, but safe means different things to different people around masking. Yes, let me finish this thought. You guys are giving me so much good stuff that I want to get all your comments in, but think about this. Okay, Northwest Ohio. Okay, Ohio ranks 8th in the number of hate groups in this country. Why? Because our state was so strong for the Underground Railroad. A lot of places, okay, that we trained the civil rights workers who were going to go down to Mississippi and register people to vote. So very strong in the area of civil rights. Okay, very strong. All right, that's boomerang bigotry. Because Ohio was so strong for civil rights, there is an opposing force that rose up, just like Bozo the Clown, bouncing right back at you. Okay, we rank 8th in the number of hate groups in this country. We have more hate groups here in Ohio than they have in Alabama. I'm going to Alabama next month. And yeah, Alabama, okay. Alabama and Auburn are both my clients. And that makes for a fun thing. I'm the only Buckeye. And then we got, you know, Bama and Auburn. We have more hate groups here in Ohio as a result of being so progressive. That's what Bozo does, isn't it? There is always an opposite reaction to a force in there. For every action, there's an opposite reaction. And that's what we get today. So I am not going to tell you what to think, but think about this. I go to Northwest Ohio. Some of the guys who were at the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally worked at one of my employers. And how did they know that? They saw them on TV. And understand, the guy who drove the car through the crowd in Charlottesville that killed that woman, he was from the Toledo area. Okay, so guess what? I got a call from the owner, went up there. And so, yes, I've got a room with skinheads in it. They made it very clear that they are not neo-Nazis. I don't necessarily recognize the difference, but they do. Okay. And I told them, you have a right to believe what you want to believe. You can hate whoever you want. But if you're going to hate, if you all want to get together down in the basement, turn it into a kegger, knock yourself out. But when you go out on the internet, when you go out into public, I do not want to see any Nazi symbols or skinhead symbols. I don't want to see any hate symbols. And yeah, your days of going to rallies are done because it's going to cost us business. We do business with people who are Jewish, who are gay, who are black, and actually a whole bunch of people you don't like. As long as I wasn't telling them what to believe, I was okay. I was okay. Now, apply that to vaccinations. I understand what you're saying. And actually, I have had some relatives and good friends who have had some pretty serious reactions to this virus or to this vaccination. And so I've got folks who will say, oh, no, I'm not going to get the vaccination. I respect your opinion. You have a right to believe that. But President Biden has signed this thing. I mean, I'm just supposing it is confirmed and goes through. We don't have any choice. So all of your comments, are you going to lose people? Yes. Will nurses maybe go work for insurance companies? Yes. That is what's going to happen. Or they'll go work someplace else. I understand. However, you believe, I honor your beliefs. I respect your beliefs. I truly do. But we have no choice. We have to control your behavior. And if you have to leave, I understand. No hard feelings. And now that's a tough message, isn't it? But you understand the difference between tolerance and acceptance, which would be the difference between inquisitive and acceptance, belonging and acceptance. I just do not want you to shove something down somebody's throat by saying, you have to be accepting of these people. My favorite example ever is where I had to go and talk to a group of Amish ladies who were working right next to a Satanist. Yeah, welcome to my world. Okay. Yeah, Paula, thank you. This is not a message I'm looking forward to delivering either. You're right. But I want you to think about this. Can you hear, really, can you hear the understanding? I do understand. But I don't have any choice either. Okay. I'll tell you, it didn't really matter whether I wanted to get a vaccination or not, because there are places where I go to present and meet with people, and I have to show my vaccination card. I actually had to copy it off and put it in my wallet. Okay, so I'll tell you right now, if you can deliver that message, you're doing real good. But that, I'll tell you, listen to me, everybody, this is the message you're going to have to deliver, isn't it?
Hey, Scott.
Yes, please.
Can I throw out another word there?
Please, yes. And
Well,
who is this, please?
Nancy
Nancy.
Savage.
Sure.
So another word that I sometimes hear from people is that they are offended by something. I'm offended because you're an Ohio State fan and
yeah.
I'm a Michigan fan.
Oh, we love Michigan fans. Absolutely.
So it's like, well, I'm sorry you're offended by that, but I can't fire these people because they're Ohio State fans.
Right.
Or so what can we say to them?
Okay.
What can we say to them?
Hey, Nancy, shoot me your mailing address. That's a better question than maybe you realize. That is a fantastic question. I'm going to send you a collector's copybook. How would that be?
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah, just wonderful. And honestly, once the new title comes out, if you could read it and review it on Amazon, I love that. That helps.
Absolutely. And I will not be offended by that.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes. So now let's play with this and understand. Now I'm going to hit these questions or these comments here from Philip. Believe what you want to believe. Don't go nail it on the native's feet. Thank you, Philip. That is so cool. I'm going to post these chats here when we post everything. Mandy likes that. The way the message is delivered really changes the response you get. Neil, thank you. I mean, we could spend a whole half day because all of these skills fit together here. One of them is you're dealing with a human. Now, I want you to really, that sounds obvious, doesn't it? And I talk about humans. I don't really want to focus on race, religion, or anything. And first of all, I want to throw this out there too. Does everybody realize that we're all related? That sounds obvious, doesn't it? Yes. Now let's talk to the Jews and Muslims and Christians here for a minute, because we all share, getting lots of yeses here and sures and everybody. Wonderful. We're all related. And that's if you read the Bible, Old Testament, I should say, and talks about Adam and Eve. Now, really, race is actually a myth. We're our Homo sapiens. That's our race. Right, Joe? Absolutely. And now we've got the Human Genome Project. I talk about it in the book, but you can Google it. Human Genome Project. Okay. All human DNA originates from the same place, Eve. Yes, the family tree really has grown into what now, 7.3 billion people on the planet and growing. Okay, we are all human. We're all human. And so we all have the same basic emotional system. All of us, we're all wired the same. A human animal can react in 17 thousandths of a second. The difference between a pure caveman or woman and an evolved person is often 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Okay, so yeah, why do people do these things? Because we are cavemen. We have not evolved in over 5,000 years, and that's if you are a creationist or an evolutionist. Everybody agrees 5,000 years ago, humans lived here. Our reactions can kick in 17 thousandths of a second before our frontal lobes even know what's happening. That human being can react and attack you before they even know what's happening. And so our first reaction when someone disagrees with us is to attack or retreat, which is the passive aggressives. Okay, now, having said that, I have an initial reaction, and I'm not going to stop and slow down and take that 5 seconds to make that inquisitive nature true. I'm not going to ask. Remember the title of the book. We are animals. We don't stop to ask. Okay. Can't change the world. You can't change human behavior. So what do? You change the title of the book. Okay. So that's a big, big important point. We react and then think. Okay. So the offended people are merely reacting. Pretty much, Holly. Yeah. Let me give you this exercise. I know you've all done, but I'm going to sort of change it up here. Show you how reactive we are and emotional we are. So we're all going to say the word together, joke. Let's all say the word together, joke, 10 times. Then I'm going to ask you a question. See if you get it right. Okay, ready? This is group participation. And even though I can't hear you, you got to follow along and you got to actually do the exercise. Okay, ready? The word is joke 10 times. Ready? Joke, 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 joke. What do you call the white part of the egg? Everybody get it?
Yolk.
Yolk. Yep. Yolk. Yep. Yeah, that would be wrong, wouldn't it? Ah, got a white here. Got a laugh out loud. Albumin. Yeah. Albumin. Right. Absolutely. So you know that our emotional system is 2 or 3 times faster. So yeah, one of the things in your training and in your program to get people to be more belonging, to get people to be more inquisitive or tolerant, slow down and think. Okay, so your first reaction in a conflict is always wrong. Fingers faster than spelling. That's okay, Pat. Me too. I have more typos in my spelling. Don't worry about it. You got to slow down. Otherwise, you could make some major mistake one day and people will record you doing it. Okay, so having said that, understanding the human. Second, what is offensive? Next month for our Lunch and Learns, this is actually our topic. So Holly, what a great segue into November. What is offensive? And let me just sort of tip my hand here. Basically, if it was on the front page of USA Today, what would most people think? That is actually the test put into modern times. We got a case back in 1993, Harris versus Forklift Systems, in which Teresa Harris was being sexually harassed by the president, Charles Hardy. And he was just harassing her, just doing all kinds of unspeakable things. She sued, and this went on for a couple of years. She sued, went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court looked at this, and Charles Hardy argued, well, she's just being hypersensitive. I'm just kidding around. Everybody knows I'm just kidding. She is hypersensitive. And the United States Supreme Court came back and they said, well, there are hypersensitive people. There are hypersensitive people in this world. But how do you know if somebody is hypersensitive or if they've got a legitimate beef? How do you know? Here's the test. And you've been living under it for almost 30 years. Here's the test. Would the reasonable person in the community be offended? Would the reasonable person in the community be offended? Now, some people are always going to be offended. That's not the test. Some people are always going to say, oh, he's just kidding. That's not the test either. What do most people think? So yes, it's a public opinion poll. That's what it is. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's say that somebody is groping you, exposing themselves to you, and asking for sex. Those are basically the facts of the Harris case. And today, the community is not Ohio. It's not even the United States. It's probably the world. Okay, so I like to use this, and I want this to get into your cultures. And, Holly, for your clients, I think this is wonderful for them. And all the rest of you consultants out there, I think this is great. If that was on the front page of USA Today, what would most people think? Now, got a comment here. There aren't too many reasonable people out there. Well, I prefer to think that there are a few unreasonable people, but they're really loud. Yeah, you can debate that for a while. But let's think about this. If this was on the front page of USA Today, that you were just groping your employees, Well, I think the Harvey Weinsteins and Andrew Cuomo's would say, well, it's just another day. Just another day. We're not thinking about that. And some people would be ready to kill the person. Well, we're not thinking about that. What do most people? I think most people across this country would be offended by that. And I'll tell you, I want to get that into your culture. Now let's tie all this together. Is it safe? Is it safe to disagree? And let me tell you right now, overwhelmingly in American workplaces, it is not. Overwhelmingly. All the reputable studies show, all the surveys show that you can pretty much, I got another comment here. Yes, do it respectfully. Yes, you can disagree with somebody. And how do you define respect? EPR. EPR. So is it safe? Is it safe? So I would sit down with somebody who was maybe sexually harassing somebody, who was, using slurs in the workplace, gender slurs or something. And I'll tell you, I use my EPR skills and I ask, hey, are you making it more or less safe for that person? Well, I don't think I'm making it. Okay. If that was on the front page of USA Today, that you called Margaret this, what would most people say? And they always say the same thing. It's always, oh, well, some people would think it's funny. Yeah, that's not the test, pal. Oh, and by the way, if you do end up in court, the fact that you thought it was funny or that you were just kidding isn't admissible. You hear what I'm saying? The harasser's intent is not admissible. It's not even a consideration. And last year in October, I had an attorney raise that issue in a hearing, and I just cut her in half. You can't even argue that. The United States Supreme Court said that is not even a factor to be considered. All that matters is what would most people think. And so, yeah, it's a public opinion poll. So you kind of see here with what we're talking about, how do you know if something's offensive? Well, first and foremost, when you write your policies, is it safe? I put that right in my harassment policy for all kinds of harassment. And what would the reasonable person in the community think? Or if that was on the front page of USA Today, what would most people think as deemed by management? Okay, we got another good comment here. The climate feels like it has changed over the past few years. Yes, Holly, you are so right. Reasonable person standard seems flawed in our current political climate. Feels like you would need most people from each side. Now, let's take masks. This is a good comment, okay? Is it okay to disagree on masks? And that's just really hot these days. Oh, give you another one. Is it okay to disagree on critical race theory? Beth's giving me a yes on the masks and things. Yes, it's okay to disagree. There you go. Is it okay to yell at somebody? No. Is it okay to attack them? No. Is it okay to attack a steward or a stewardess on an airline? No. So you kind of see this takes some discipline. Are you bullying somebody because they're different? And the bottom line is, for this session here, I want you to create a safe environment. That is the culture, and you live by that. Absolutely. You coach people. Are you making it more or less safe? Well, I think you're making it less safe. And you know what that means? You don't do that again. You don't do that again. Why? Because as deemed by management. Now, I use the word tolerant, and this is something to think about, because that is what is dictated to you by the United States Supreme Court. That's good authority, folks. You have to live under that. That is what is dictated to you by the EEOC. Now, if you want to use another term, absolutely. We have got to get away from telling people what to believe. All right. So, and we've got another good comment here. Let's see if we get to it. I'm trying to get down here. There's actually a study I read where, I can't get my, there's actually a study I read where they looked at group performance. And if someone plays the devil's advocate position in a group, actually helps the group perform better compared to the groups without the devil's advocate. But when given the chance to vote someone out, the devil's advocate consistently got voted out. Absolutely, Scott. That's called the Confederate. It's a famous study, and you hit it right on the head. The Confederate, the devil's advocate, makes your decisions better, but that's the person we always get rid of. Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. Wonderful, wonderful groups. Those of you who got books coming, shoot me your hard copy mailing address, and I will be happy to send those to you. Oh, the codes for today. Oh, don't want to forget that. HRCI. And I will post the slides online too, so you can get the codes. HRCI code is 570825. That is 570825. And SHRM 21-4NJT4. 4NJT4. Okay, thank you back. I love all the chat, and oh, my pleasure. You guys, gals, have been just absolutely wonderful. So until next time, next month is what is offensive? Oh, that's going to be a hot one. Okay, and we are going to get back in December with what is dehumanization. How do we dehumanize each other? So, hey, everybody stay safe, and we will see you soon.